Hi, I'm State Representative Ron Young, and I've been asked to speak to you today briefly about House Bill 189. House Bill 189 is extremely bad for the beauty salon cosmetology industry in Ohio. You know, there's over 70,000 people employed in that industry. These are mostly smaller women-owned businesses scattered throughout the state, and 189 is bad, I'm confident, for their customers, for the state's economy, and of course for those employees. On the surface, it looks like it'd be a good idea because it reduces the amount of hours and training people have to get in order to become a cosmetologist. And in so doing, by reducing that number of hours, it reduces the expense. So you would think that it'd be a fantastic thing. But the reality is this. Right now in the United States, there's only 3 states that require only 1,000 hours of training. And that's what 189 calls for, is just 1,000 hours of training for cosmetologists. Currently, the vast majority of states require 1,500 hours. So if 189 becomes law, that means that our cosmetologists in the great state of Ohio couldn't work anywhere else. There'd be no opportunities for them to be employed other than in Ohio. It'll also harm small businesses. The majority of Ohio's cosmetology industry is smaller companies. But right now we have a situation where large national franchises are trying to move into Ohio and change our laws. This will have a huge negative effect on our smaller beauty salons. Why? Well, because they can't afford the training it would require to bring people up to proper standards. And I'm talking standards for safety, standards for quality. So the people that are pushing this do not have Ohio's cosmetology industry at heart. Rather, they'd like to create a new industry modeled after their business plan, and it would destroy many of Ohio's current small businesses. I can't stand for that. Just imagine for a minute a new stylist just coming into the industry, just completing her 1,000 hours of training. Now remember, with just 1,000 hours of training, she doesn't have the expertise to really negotiate for good pay or good benefits. And she's going to require a lot more in-house training. Again, the only people that can handle the expense of good in-house training, or of any in-house training, are the larger salon chains, which are moving into Ohio. So when they do the in-house training, what that means is they don't train according to the national standards that we have currently in Ohio. They train according to what that particular salon wants to see in a stylist. So the new stylist can't negotiate for better pay, hence she ends up with lower pay to start. She ends up with less benefits to start. She doesn't have the mobility to move to another job, particularly one out of state, because they require more training out of state. And what it turns into is a revolving door policy, which is seen in a lot of industries. People go in, they work for a short time, they get disenchanted, realizing they have no upward mobility, and they end up trapped with the same employer that they've always worked with, and many of them, if not most of them, end up leaving the industry in just a short 2 or 3 years. They go in with big dreams, but they leave with a big heartache. I don't want to see that happen to our industry here in Ohio, where people look at cosmetology as a long-term career opportunity that they're invested in and they want to be the best they can be at. Safety is also a very serious concern when you start reducing training so dramatically. Every day, cosmetologists throughout Ohio see literally tens of thousands of customers. The chance of exposure to toxic chemicals is great unless they all receive the great training that they get currently. In New York, where only 1,000 hours of training are required as opposed to Ohio's 1,500 hours, the New York City Advocate recently called for more training, more classroom time for their salon workers. The reason is because there have been more and more reports recently of hepatitis, of serious injuries of all sorts. So these are important issues, and they're issues that Ohio has been dealing with and dealing with appropriately for years now with the training that we do currently. It's my responsibility as a member of the Ohio General Assembly to make sure that the training we require for your cosmetologists is world class. That's why House Bill 189 is a bad idea. It's the General Assembly trying to delve into things they don't understand, and they haven't really taken the time to review in depth. So if you get a chance to call your representatives, your state senators, please feel free to do that. It could make a difference. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words here with you today. And anytime you'd like to give me a call, I'd be more than happy to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.